I thank the Geneva Summit and the Hillel Noor, the organizers, and the volunteers for giving us this platform to be the voice for those millions of innocent, voiceless people. And thank you, Luke, for being a tireless advocate for Uyghur people to shed light on China's crimes against humanity and the genocide. And my esteemed panelists, Tenzin and Joy, and many courageous advocates in the room today. I am very honored to be here with you all. I am speaking today out of necessity. I'm a mother who had a fulfilling life with a successful career. But for the past 44 months, now I am a sister to an innocent victim of China's genocidal crimes. I never thought that I would quit my job and become a full-time activist. I never thought I would have to fight for my own sister's freedom. And I never thought in the 21st century, China would conduct a genocide complete with concentration camps and the slavery on our watch. This Chinese government's genocidal and ultra-nationalistic policies combined with racism and the cutting-edge technology in our homeland have been confirmed not only through Beijing's own leaked documents, but hundreds of experts and the survivors' testimonies numerous times over. China claims that these camps are humane vocational job training centers. This is a lie. Detainees include university professors, famous writers, doctors, successful business owners, philanthropists, as well as young children and the elderly, none of whom need job training. The Uyghur economy has been destroyed. The government is distributing Uyghurs' wealth and reallocating their homes and the lands to Chinese settlers. In January 2019, 2-year-old Rahmatul Sherbaki's body was found drowned inside an irrigation ditch. 6 months later, 3-year-old Farhat Tudigayet drowned in a river. In December 2019, 5-year-old Nasrullah Yusufdokhti was found frozen to death in a ditch. What all these 3 boys had in common was their parents were detained in those concentration camps. We only ever saw photos of little Rahmatul and Nasrullah's bodies. How many hundreds and the thousands of Uyghur children's photos did not make it at all? How many remain missing? The Uyghur women are subject to forced marriages with Chinese men and sent to the camps for refusing under the guise of extremism. China's state media reported that 1.1 million Chinese cadres deployed to Uyghur homes live inside of their homes, supervise and monitor their daily lives. The Uyghur women are subject to sexual abuse in their own home, in their own bed. Uyghur women's bodies have been a battleground in this genocide. They face state-sponsored mass rape, forced sterilizations, forced abortions, forcibly inserted IUD devices in their bodies. Survivors of such crimes have been immensely brave in sharing their experiences. While the CCP tries to smear the reputation of courageous Uyghur women, Xi Jinping's wife, Peng Liyuan, is a UNESCO special envoy for women's and the girls' education. This is a direct betrayal of feminists and the activists and organizations defending women's rights. Today, I fight at the cost of my loving sister's freedom. In 2018, my sister retired medical doctor Rushan Abbas was taken by the Chinese regime as a hostage, as a retaliation for my speaking out against Chinese government. And I participated on a panel like this, and I was speaking about the genocidal policies, outlining the fate of my in-laws. My husband is sitting here among us. His entire family has been missing since summer of 2017. But 6 days later, the Chinese government took my sister. She is a kind, gentle, peaceful, and non-political soul. I was accused by the Chinese state media for stealing someone else's photo and spreading lies about my missing relatives when I raised her case. More than 2 years after her detention, the Chinese Foreign Ministry acknowledged and confirmed a harsh sentence against her. Today, we don't know if she's still alive, and we have no idea on her whereabouts. My niece Ziba, who flew over today to join us with us here, now fighting to free her mother instead of concentrating on her full-time job and raising her 4-year-old daughter at home. China's war on humanity is belated. This is a war against women, a war against children, a war against the freedom and the democracy and the human values. And yet, so much of the world remains quiet. China has successfully silenced the international condemnation of its shameful genocidal crimes. Look at the UN. We have been pushing Ms. Michelle Bachelet, the UN High Commissioner to the Human Rights, to release the report compiled on the Uyghur crisis for months now without success. Is Beijing controlling her? I demand her to meet with my sister, Dr. Rushan Abbas, and my in-laws, and the many other high-profile cases, if she goes to examine the situation of the Uyghurs. China sits on the Human Rights Council, similar to a murderer being a judge for his own trial. The founding principles of the UN, of a world that upholds the values of human rights, are being upended and transformed into a shadow of itself that kowtows to authoritarian regimes like China's. It saddens me to see the world remain idle against the genocide of my people. It angers me to see my sister and the millions of innocent Uyghurs are becoming collateral damage dealing with China. It worries me to see China become a power able to strong-arm the world with trade threats, the power of Belt and Road Initiative, debt trap diplomacy, and the manipulation in UN. There is no neutrality in this genocide. They are only the perpetrator and the enablers. While the CCP is the perpetrator, those making this genocide a profitable venture for China are the enablers. As members of the free world and the upholders of freedom, liberty, and democracy, we cannot stand idly by. The soul of humanity is being tested. Will we have the moral courage to pass the test? History will remember those who act and those who fail to do so. Our children will ask us what we did to defend freedom when we recognize this threat. If we do not speak out and act now, the only voice and the action left will be one of regret. I'm going to conclude my remarks with Dr. Elie Wiesel's quote from his famous work, Night. Quote, "Here's a long road of suffering ahead of you, but don't lose courage," unquote. And he continues, quote, "Help one another. It's the only way to survive," unquote. Hope, courage, and the help from each of you are the only things that we have left to fight onwards against this evident evil. Please fight with me. Thank you.